Chapter 92. Gojo's Steady Heartbeat. Geto was hunched over his desk, sifting through his notebooks and textbooks, making sure he was ready for school the next day. Knots twisted in his stomach as he thought about the days ahead, knowing that it wouldn't be long until he and Gojo were out in the field again. Gojo was getting ready for bed and humming a tune that Geto could barely hear over the shower spray. Hearing Gojo's voice, he relaxed a little and sat down to review his homework. His mind started to wander as he thought about the training Yaga had put them through, testing Geto to see if he'd regain control over his cursed energy, seeing if he and Gojo could balance each other out. Gojo opened the bathroom door, swathed in his bathrobe, toothbrush in hand. He watched Geto. He was bathed in the yellow light of his desk lamp, hair in a low bun, bangs hanging down as he bent over some notes. Geto looked away, reached for something at the far corner of his desk, and brought it closer to him. It was a light green box, and he lifted the lid and stared at the onenju beads inside. Geto slowly traced a finger over the smooth, blue spheres and smiled to himself. Gojo's breath caught in his throat at this small gesture, that such a simple gift would make his face light up like that. Can you imagine if I could give him the world? Geto put the lid back on the box, and Gojo quietly retreated to the bathroom. After they settled into bed, Gojo fell asleep with Geto in his arms. But Geto turned over and drew himself into the fetal position, something he only did when he was feeling anxious. A few hours later, Geto opened his eyes in the pitch-black dark. Someone was pressing on his chest, pinning him down. "You thought you could rest?" Geto grabbed for the arm holding him down, but nothing was there. "You haven't earned it." He pushed himself off the ground and followed a light showing him the way down the halls of Jujutsu High. Geto flinched as he turned a corner and saw his reflection on the window glass. "You'll never be free, not while you can hear them." An army of spirits with faces blank except for their mouths laughed at Geto in their shrill voices as they came down the hall. Geto turned to see them, feeling his cursed energy spike along with his fear. He froze in place and shut his eyes as the shadows descended on him. "Suguru!" Geto heard Gojo call out to him, and he opened his eyes again. He was back where he was supposed to be, in bed with Gojo, but Gojo was sitting up, blanketing Geto's wild energy with infinity. Geto could feel the sharp edges soften before he regained control. Gojo pulled infinity in and drew Geto close. "Was that a nightmare, or were you just trying to keep me on my toes?" Gojo asked lightly. Geto didn't answer, but he buried his face in Gojo's shoulder, resting the palm of his hand over his chest. "I got a small taste of what it's like to live without curses," he thought, feeling Gojo's steady heartbeat underneath his hand. "But the voices always find me. They put me right back in my place before I can even dream otherwise."